What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, man. So my name is Hani Mahari. In today's video, I want to pretty much show you a bunch of devices that I got from a business, right? And pretty much and then another business as well, to another vendor that I'm working with, a wholesaler here in the city, and how I was able to get over 30 devices. And I just want to break them down. So we got a bunch of phones, man. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, man. Let's get into it. So yeah, man. So I was able to get like literally over 30 devices from one of my wholesalers. I just picked them up today. And then I got another batch, a bunch of iPhone 7s that I picked up as well too, just from a local business here that's nearby, right? So pretty much I've been doing this, like I said, the last 3 years, and I found that, like the most success I've made so far is just like, meeting certain people in the business. And how I met these people are just randomly. When I first got started, I remember literally my second month into the business, I was able to do a little over like $15,000. And how this happened literally was this: I found this one guy on Kijiji. And crazy story about this guy is that, see, at that time I was transitioning from our first, because I got into this about 2023, right? And at 2023, when I got into it, the beginning of like January there, I was like, okay, I want to take this business serious, right? And when you're first getting started in any business, you don't really know if this is something you're actually passionate about. But when I found out about phones was that, there's so much demand, especially my first month, because how I started was literally I had a bunch of phones I had laying around. I took those phones and I sold them into the market, and I was able to find people to buy them, right? And this is like, I started with little as like 365, right? And this is money that, that I had laying around, phones that I had laying around, took those phones and I sold them. And I was able to just keep reinvesting back into the business. But I don't know what it was. As I started going on in that just flipping phones, the more phones I flipped, I started reaching out to more people, because I found out that, like at the end of the day, if you want anything in life, it's behind another human being, right? Someone else has the money. Someone else has the opportunity you're looking for. So what I started to do was I started, I'm going to take this serious. At that time, I was still working my job, right? Working with the youth and developing kids playing basketball. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to take this even serious, I got to start doing more outreaches. So I started going out there, reaching out to people on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. I was messaging like 200 people a day, right? Just nonstop, looking for deals and opportunities. And then one day I stumbled upon this one guy. Right, this is about second month, so this is about February 2023, I believe. This one guy on Kijiji who was looking to sell some devices, and he was like, hey, I have about 5 devices that I want to sell you. Do you want to buy them? And you see, at that time, I was scared to buy a bunch of phones, because I felt like, I don't know, they could be stolen or something can come up, right? So I'm like, okay, sure, let's meet up. So I told this person, let's meet, right? Let me check out the phones and I'll give you cash for them, right? At the time, he wasn't looking to get much for them. They're a bunch of old devices. So I'm like, okay, sure. So went to go meet this person. I find out that, when we did the transaction, he was actually working at Bell, right? So if you guys don't know, Bell is a telecommunication provider here in the city of in Canada, right? So they're one of the biggest, companies here. So knowing that, I'm like, okay, he probably works for Bell. He must be doing something with these phones. So I find out that he's running a business where he has like a photography business where he shoots movies with these phones. So a lot of devices that he had was his phones that he was either taking from Bell, and pretty much old devices, and using them for his business. I'm like, okay, so he had a bunch of phones that were laying around that he was looking to get rid of, because he felt like, hey, I'm just have a bunch of phones, I want to sell them to you. So we did a transaction in that deal. I think I bought about 5 phones. Come to find out, I say, do you have more devices you're looking to sell? A couple of days later, me and him end up building a relationship. Next thing you know, a week or so after, he comes back, he sells me like 50 devices. And at the time, there were a bunch of like iPhone 6s, iPhone 7s, and a bunch of Samsungs. That's when I really got into Samsung. People don't know, like, you can make money from Samsung. Like, it's a sleep market. And at that time, nobody really knew about it, because I was like, he had a bunch of like Samsungs, S8s, S9s at the time. I'm like, okay, this could really be if I start posting this on the market, maybe there could be a demand for this. So I started doing that, took those phones, started posting them. I literally, was going crazy. At that time, the market was just on all-time high. I felt like, so I took those phones, reposted them. Next thing you know, I had people lying, messaging me all day, hey, I want to buy that phone, I want to buy this phone. I was able to sell that unit within like a couple weeks, just 50 phones. And then he came back again. He had some more devices that he was looking to sell. So the moral of the story here is that I found this guy just by hunting for deals. I didn't know people out here had that many devices, right? But I had to go out there, I had to reach out to him and ask them, do you have more devices you're looking to sell, right? And just build that genuine connections, because what happens here a lot of times is people, whenever they're looking to sell a lot of devices, a lot of time, number one, he was scared because he felt like, what if I sell these devices one by one on marketplace and someone tries to do something to me, right? But so he came to me instead, because he was like, hey, you know what? I think you'll be a reliable guy. Instead of me having to post them on marketplace and meet 5 different people, I could just sell them to you all at once and I don't have to deal with the headache. So I was buying devices. I literally, like, he was selling me iPhone 6s and 7s for like $20, $30. These were good deals at the time because my profit margins on those was big, right? I was selling them for like, buying them for 20, selling them for like $100, right? So it was just crazy at the time. But fast forward all these years, now I've been working with so many different people. I actually found another guy who was able to get me into laptops, right? And the same thing, I found this guy just like how I found this guy, just on Kijiji, messaging a lot of people and randomly saying, hey, you got more devices you're looking to sell. Whenever I meet people who are just looking to sell 5 devices, I always ask them, do you have more things you want to sell? Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, people always have more than one device they're looking to sell. They probably know somebody, or they probably just, have things just laying around their house. So you always have to be willing to ask, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't ask, what's the worst case they say? They say no. So asking is always good, just to find out more, right, about who you're dealing with. So that's how I was able to meet certain people. And then today, I got a bunch of phones that I got from one of my buyers, one of my wholesalers here. And, I just picked up about 30 devices. So we got some iPhone 13s, right? These are like A-grade condition almost, you know what I mean? So say that to say, like, at the end of the day, you have to build like relationships with certain people, right? You got to go out there, contact people and find out who has opportunities. Because here's the thing, like, in the phone business, like, you can make money, but it comes down to like, what sort of activities that you're doing every single day to generate income, right? Because here's the thing, no one is going to come there and give you anything. You have to be willing to go out there in the marketplace, find these people who are nearby, people who are like, that can sell you these devices. And what I typically do sometimes too, I do a referral business where, hey, if you refer me to somebody else that's looking to sell their phones, I'll give you $20 or $30, right? So they can be able to sell me more devices, right? So that's how I've been able to build so many relationships, so many, I call them direct buyers, people who are looking to sell me phones, people who are looking to buy phones, right? So you have to do both of those things, because here's the thing, in this business, right, you either have to buy the devices very low and you have to sell them to somebody else, right? So if you can create both those dynamics, you'll be able to win, right? That's why I think, even though I have a lot of items right now, a lot of phones, I know that I can resell these phones back to somebody else and I can wholesale all the stuff. I'm looking at least about, I got about 30 devices. I can make at least about $2,000 profit or more than that just off these devices alone, right? And of course, you have to spend money to make money, right? That's ultimately the game in any business. But in this business, I feel like because it's so, as long as you have them and it's you have them on hand. Because here's the thing, worst case scenario, you don't have phones, you can't make no money, right? So even if you have to pay a little bit more higher for them, right, just to make a little bit of dollar, because here's the thing, we don't want to focus on making big profit when we're first getting started. We want to make smaller profits so it can compound, be able to generate some money, and then be able to take that money and reinvest back into the business. But at the end of the day, people have to know who you are, right? They have to know what sort of business are you doing. I literally found another guy the other day here from Google. He actually messaged me again. He said, hey, I saw that your website, you're looking like you look like you buy phones. Do you want to buy some devices? This was the other day here again. He messaged me. I'm like, yeah, I do. We do buy phones. I went to go to him and I find out this guy is actually a business here in the city that I'm from, and they're actually just looking to sell a lot of their devices because they're running out of business. They're closing down their business. So I'm like, okay, sure. What kind of devices do you have laying around? He had a bunch of laptops, a bunch of phones, and I just made him a deal on the spot and I was able to buy, right? So what you're looking for is people who are just looking to get rid of them. Like, the motivation has to be there. Either they just want to sell them because they just need money now, or either they don't really care about getting too much for them, right? That's when you found a good deal, right? It's not about like, going out there. Of course, not like now at the stage that I'm at right now, I still go out there and negotiate for deals, but I built so many relationships in the marketplace. People come to me now for deals and for devices, right? That's what you got to do. You got to go out there, man, contact and find these people, right? And still just, find reliable sources, because, like I said, in this business, the more phones you have, the more money you'll make. So yeah, man, if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and like the video.